It's called one of the greatest achievements in public health in the 20th century, and you probably don't even realize how it affects you every day.
We're talking about water fluoridation. Fluoride is added to our water supply.
Should cities keep putting fluoride in our tap water? That question up for debate tonight.
Fluoride in our community water is a good thing. Here's why.
Fluoride is an industrial waste chemical.
Increased levels of fluoride exposure during pregnancy are associated with declines of IQ in children.
Turns out the stuff in common tap water happens to be a sister compound to sodium fluoroacetate, a common form of rat poison.
Fluoride in water is supposed to fight tooth decay, but could it also cause cancer? It's a controversial question.
Now Harvard University is actually caught up in the debate with serious allegations that an Ivy League professor may be covering up the truth.
Dr. Chester Douglas, a Harvard University big shot. He's chairman of the Department of Oral Health Policy and Epidemiology at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. The professor doesn't think there's a connection, but his opinion is under scrutiny since he's also a paid consultant for the toothpaste industry.
According to studies by the Case Institute, the byproduct of phosphate mining, in which they make fertilizer and laundry detergent, is liquid fluoride. So toxic it costs $7 grand a barrel to bury.
The study assesses more than 500 child and mother pairs. It finds for every 1 milligram per liter average increase in fluoride intake by a mother, there was a 3.7 drop in the child's IQ.
Now, in bed with the government, companies can avoid expensive burial costs by diluting fluoride in city water supplies, saying that fluoride has huge dental benefits.
And what we need, because of the obvious connection, and I'll try and bring this to the Minister's attention and trace it, is an independent Irish inquiry into whether this fluoridization is actually causing the high rates of cancer, the high rates of cardiovascular disease, and the high rates of diabetes. And there's evidence not just from Mr. Declan War's interview, but from a lot of overseas and distinguished investigations that this does happen, that fluoride is the cause of these diseases in many cases.
Well, indeed, minute doses directly applied to a tooth may help that bothersome cavity. But in reality, tap water goes directly down the throat and through the body's major organs. Liver and kidneys then receive, ready for this? Lead, cadmium, phosphorus, selenium, mercury, silver, chromium, arsenic, and uranium-238, radioactive, by the way.
Not only has the ingestion of fluoride been linked to a variety of health concerns, but research increasingly shows that it doesn't even improve our teeth. While applying fluoride directly to the tooth's enamel can in fact prevent tooth decay, it has been proven in dozens of peer-reviewed studies that swallowing the substance has no health benefit whatsoever. Countries which do not add fluoride to their water have seen the same rate of decline in tooth decay. This data from the World Health Organization implies that factors other than fluoridated water are contributing to the overall improvement of dental health worldwide.
Is the fluoride problem a new phenomenon? No. By World War II, farms, cattle, plants, and fish were dying from the toxic byproduct of common aluminum production, sodium fluoride.
One of the first things I did, of course, I gave out lots of free toothpaste. I started reading the label on it, and keep out of the reach of children under 6 years of age. Okay, that sounds reasonable. And adults apply a pea-size amount and contact the Poison Control Center if you swallow. Well, that in the research literature works out to 1/4 milligram of fluoride. This water here happens to be Chicago water out of the faucet. This contains 1/4 milligram of fluoride. There seems to be a disconnect with me there. Okay, they tell me not to swallow 1/4 milligram of fluoride in my toothpaste, but they're forcing me to swallow 1/4 milligram in 1 glass of water.
Fluoride in our water supply is a very real and ever-present risk to our population at large.
Dennis, let's make sure we're clear on this. Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste, but it's actually a poison, right?
It sure is, and here's the quickest evidence. Go to your bathroom and pick up your toothpaste, and you'll see a warning that if a child swallows more than a pea-sized amount of toothpaste, call Poison Control.
Wow.
The protected pollutant status that fluoride enjoys within EPA and other federal establishments is remarkable, as the charts over here show.
Last November, concerns over excess fluoride prompted the American Dental Association to warn parents not to mix baby formula with tap water during an infant's first 12 months.
Phyllis Mullenix found that fluoride in very modest doses produces effects in laboratory animals resembling attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder.
He says, "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" And he says, "You're telling us that we're reducing the IQ of children." And basically I said, yes.
Scientists like Nobel Prize winner Arvid Carlson and a large group of EPA scientists have called for the banning of fluoride because we don't know how much we're ingesting, so we don't know if we're being poisoned.
Fluoride can also build up in the bones to cause pain, stiff joints, and skeletal abnormalities when they get older.
It's a cumulative poison. It just gradually builds up and it gradually causes harm.
Do you know when fluoride was first put in drinking water? In the Nazi concentration camp. Stands back in amazement, can't believe it. This is Charles Perkins, a chemist who wrote to the Lee Foundation for Nutritional Research, Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1954, and this is what he wrote. In the 1930s, Hitler and the German Nazis envisaged a world to be dominated and controlled by a Nazi philosophy of pan-Germanism. The German chemists worked out a very ingenious and far-reaching plan of mass control, which was submitted to and adopted by the German General Staff. This plan was to control the population in any given area through mass medication of drinking water supplies. By this method, they could control the population in whole areas, reduce population by water medication that would induce sterility in women, and so on. In this scheme of mass control, sodium fluoride occupied a prominent place. That's what it's about.
So how does big business get away with dumping this toxic glunk into our city water? Turns out the federal government subsidizes it by giving block grants of up to $100 grand for cities to start adding fluoride to their tap water. An EPA source told me the chemical companies joke, the solution to pollution is dilution. Better to poison a lot of people a little than a few people a lot. Then it'd be really obvious.
We're developing a society because of all of these different toxins known to affect brain function. We're seeing a society that not only has a lot more people of lower IQ, but a lot fewer people of higher IQ. In other words, a dumbing down, a chemical dumbing down of society. So everyone's sort of mediocre. That leaves them dependent on government because they can't excel. We have these people